Hello, and welcome back to John DeSilva Photography, where everything is about photography. Now, this is part 2 today of Antarctica. The previous video was back to Antarctica landscapes. This is back to Antarctica wildlife, part 1. Yes, I have a lot of images of wildlife, too many to share in one video, so I'm breaking this up into 2 videos, and you're going to see quintessential wildlife, typical wildlife, which you always think of for Antarctica. Just like I did with the landscapes, there's no mistaking you're in Antarctica when you look at those images of the landscapes. So please like and subscribe. Come back often. This is part 1 of Back to Antarctica Wildlife. Just like this penguin jumping off the ice, we are going to jump into the images from Back to Antarctica Wildlife, part 1. Now, this image required patience, preparation, and a little luck. The luck, of course, being that I had to have a penguin that was in a situation where a jump was imminent. It had to be high and wanted to be lower. When I saw a penguin on this piece of ice and it was looking at the ground, I knew it was only a matter of time. It sat there for quite a long time, so this is where the patience of a photographer comes in handy. I composed my scene, adjusted my shutter, changed from a single exposure to multiple exposure, and waited. The camera can get pretty heavy after a while, as it did. I recall National Geographic photographer Nick Nichols telling me once that he photographed while several assistants were using clothing to fan him vigorously to keep a swarm of voracious mosquitoes and other biting insects off of him as he tried to make photographs. What we do for our craft. I guess I can't complain about my arm getting sore after that story. Anyway, I was ready to go and hit my shutter and got the penguin in different positions in the air and as it hit the ground. I think this was the most impactful image, as the penguin was at the apex of its jump. Now, my next image is about the humor of this seal's pose. It is suffering from a hangover? On a narcotic trip? Just feeling playful? Who knows? I was thankful and delighted to make a photo of the unusual behavior. The only thing worse than lethargic animals that are not moving, not doing anything out of the ordinary, is no animals present at all. There were no special settings required for this picture. Making this photograph, the composition was the most important, and I did crop in quite close. No reason to look at much else other than what this seal is doing. I've got a penguin there just posing with its white chest there, with one in the background, so it gives you a little bit of a three-dimensional feel while presenting the main subject in focus. But there were some penguins that just seemed to be acting crazy. Quirky even. So I just watched it, contorting itself for some reason unknown to me, and photographed it several times. And this image, I think, is the most quirky position of the ones I observed. And if you're watching penguins for a long time, you'll see that they do have different behaviors and interact differently with each other, or just act peculiar on their own. And that's what this one was doing. The next image is just showing the mass of penguins that were on the coast when I landed in a Zodiac. In the image, you can see just the sheer numbers of penguins. A scale of a different nature is with this ship in the background, showing you not just the size of the colony of the penguins, but the size of the ship, and the size of the landscape, and the background, and the foreground. And it shows the penguins in their habitat. Exploding out of the water, penguins get airborne, get completely out of the water for a brief moment before they go back in head first. It's very fun to watch, what they call porpoising, and it takes much patience. Because when they're in the water, you're trying to follow them, which is almost impossible because they are underwater. You can't see them. You can only guess their location by where they were headed, and by any kind of surface level disturbance you see on the water. And you have to be poised and ready with a very fast shutter to get your desired image. All the while you're establishing your background and foreground, making sure you have an interesting composition to have them in. This one didn't take a lot of work because the penguins will come up to you very closely. There is a new rule in Antarctica. I believe it's a 6-foot rule. You can't get any closer than 6 feet to an animal. If you just park yourself, stand still, they will walk close to you. The thing is, if they get any closer to you than 6 feet, you are required to move away from them. There are guides out there with you, and if they see you getting too close to the penguins, whether you're walking closer to them or they're walking closer to you, the guides will tell you to put more distance between you and the animal. They will correct your behavior. The penguin is not going to be corrected. The penguin's behavior is not going to be corrected. So you as the human being are expected to keep your distance. This image was made from a zodiac. Being in a zodiac has its own challenges because you are constantly moving, whether it's just a little bit or even if you're stationary. If the engine is off, you're still going to be moving slightly because the water is moving. Also, there are many other people on the zodiac with you, like 12 to 15. I mean, you're not packed in there like sardines, like with 30 people to a zodiac that's only meant for 10. But still, you have to be aware of the others. And they saw my camera gear and were mostly very polite. I didn't have to say anything to any of my fellow passengers about being in the way. They saw me, especially when I had the long lens on, and we worked together. I tried to not to get in their way and give them space, and they did the same. But that is one of the things you will have to be mindful of, especially when you're in a zodiac, in addition to the movement in confined space. Also taken from the zodiac, this small group of penguins with this red colored ground. I'm not sure if that's geologic or gastronomic, but I thought it made an interesting photograph because red is just not a naturally occurring color in the Antarctic. And the next picture demonstrates the natural colors that you will see. The whites and the blues, light blues in the Antarctic. This is an appropriate photo to wrap up my color photographs for Wildlife Part 1 in Antarctica because the fluke is framed really nicely here. This is the last part of the whale that you see before it goes underwater, and it's the last part of the color photographs. Now, in my Back to Antarctica Wildlife Part 1 section, the next image is the first of a series of black and white photographs that I made. This one is very effective. There's a checkerboard pattern. Can you see it? Relationship, and I'm doing air quotes now, relationship in photography, specifically black and white, but it can also be done in color where you've got alternating colors is very important, the relationship of the colors. You got the white of the snow and the white of the chest of the penguin starting down below, and then the really dark gray, almost light black, you can call it, of the water, and then the white of the snow again, and then right above the water on the other side, and then the black and the triangle rock mountain in the back, and then the white sky. So you're getting black, white, black, white, black, white. You're getting some sort of checkerboard pattern going on there. And the three penguins themselves. Three, as I've talked about in other videos, is a really significant in terms of subjects that you have in any image. Three is a very dynamic relationship in photography and imagery. And then they stand out, like I said, in front of the dark of the water. It's just a very nice environmental portrait of these three. And the next image, like the previous one, was a checkerboard, and I'd say 50-50, maybe white to black, 50% of each. But this next one is straight up gray. It's all light gray. It looks gloomy. Even the ice on the water is gray. It's not your white, white, white but it's what you've got. There is a humpback whale on its side with its flipper straight up in the air, and I thought that was a kind of cool little image saying hello to me, a friendly wave, and to me and to the world. Hello. That is the humpback whale. And the next image again is all gray, but those black and white orcas really pop out. They're both just expelled air out of their blowholes, so you've got this mist rising up above them. And by the way, if you're downwind of a humpback whale or close enough to orcas, you will smell that mist when the wind brings it to you. And I mean, man, is it ripe with fish. And it's warmer too. I mean, you're out there in the cold in a zodiac, and if you're close enough, you'll feel the temperature of the air rise as the smell passes you. It's warmer and fishier. So you're breathing the inside. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I thought it was a cool thing. You're breathing the air that was just inside that orca or that humpback whale. I found it really cool. Some of the people, my fellow passengers, found it disgusting. I found it cool. And then this final image in the black and white section, and overall, the last image of my Back to Antarctica Wildlife Part 1 is again the fluke of a humpback. This humpback whale is going down, basically saying goodbye. This is the last part of the whale you see. Every time a whale comes up, that fluke is the last thing you see. And everything's gray except that iceberg is white and that fluke is black. You can't miss it. So these are the images I have in Part 1. It's time to wrap up this video. Well, that concludes this video. I hope you enjoyed the images. Hope they were helpful. Hope it gives you ideas with your own photography, improves your photography, because that is the point here, showing you my photographs, helping you make your own photographs better. Please like and subscribe. Come back often. And don't forget, if you see any images that you like and would like to purchase, that is available, as well as my photography services. here in Florida and elsewhere. So take care of yourself, make great photographs, and I'll see you on the next video, which is back to Antarctica, part 2, wildlife. See you then.